Okay, so we've got some great news when it comes to the Vancouver Canucks and the Montreal Canadiens. Of course, I know the last two videos for the Habs were kind of bad. They lost against Vancouver last night, and we made the post-game, and then earlier today, we talked about the crazy idea of trading Lane Hudson that made its way onto Montreal Sports Talk Radio, but I promise, this video is a lot better for the Canadiens fans tuning into the channel, but before we get into that, I wanted to talk about this piece of news right here. Rick Dhaliwal gives us the scoop on Jonathan Lekkerimaki because it turns out he's coming to Vancouver. He'll be leaving Sweden for BC on Sunday, and the early word is he could stay for 8 to 10 days and then go back to Sweden and try to make it for their World Championship team. Or, hear me out, win a cup with the big club and play top 6 minutes. Okay, we'll see if that's actually a possibility here, but when it comes to Lekkerimaki coming over to Vancouver after his Orebro Hockey Club stint this year finished up, this is a really great piece of information. Now, just in case you needed the update here, Lekkerimaki finished off his Orebro season with 31 points in 46 games played and 19 goals. He also had 1 assist in 3 playoff games for the club, which unfortunately is a pretty big step down, but then again, with Orebro being eliminated, this isn't really the best result possible, but still, Lekkerimaki had himself a great season, a really good bounce back from the draft plus 1 year that he had, where he was plagued with injuries, he had mono, he was recovering, he wasn't looking all too good. Everywhere across the board, Jonathan Lekkerimaki improved tremendously. Djurgårdens was in the Allsvenskan and he wasn't doing well. He had 4 points in 7 games at the World Juniors, but the year after in the SHL, he's producing at a pretty good rate and he ups his World Junior performance by quite a bit. We had talked about this and more in the previous video about Lekkerimaki, but seeing him potentially try out for Team Sweden at the World Championships is going to be pretty good because when it comes to the last guy that the Canucks had as a prospect to eventually make that team before becoming an NHLer, it was Elias Pettersson. During that season with the Växjö Lakers, he did play for Team Sweden at the Worlds. He had 3 points in 5 games played. But taking a look at how Team Sweden has fared the past little while, this Elias Pettersson year, as we had talked about, there were a lot of NHLers on that team. Last season, though, just to get references in there, they didn't really have too many NHL players, so we'll see what the team looks like this year if Jonathan Lekkerimaki is able to suit up for the blue and yellow. But for now, word is that he'll be heading over to Vancouver to spend some time with the team, just see what everything's about and understand what the system is that he's coming into, most likely in October. This could be a really, really great transition, and it's one of the most underrated things that I think you could see because it allows him to be comfortable. Getting a short introductory, what is it called? Like when you go to college? Orientation, that's what it's called. This could be like his orientation with the Vancouver Canucks system. Like, of course, he was in Vancouver for all the prospect camps and everything, but now, being a part of the organization, just seeing what it's like when they're in the midst of a playoff run or trying to make the playoffs, and visualizing the practices, maybe visiting Abbotsford, seeing all the things there is to see. He's got over a week to do this, and then he'll go back to Sweden, he'll play for the World Championships, and then the offseason will begin. This is a very, very great way to introduce Lekkerimaki so that by the time October rolls around, he doesn't need to adjust too hard. Like, he kind of already knows what he's going to be dealing with, what the coaches are like, the systems they run, what his role is going to be, hopefully in Abbotsford, and potentially even in Vancouver if he's good enough to make the team. So, Jonathan Lekkerimaki, leaving for Vancouver, he's going to be in the city. This is going to be a great, great progression for his development. And when it comes to development, Byron Bader went out there and tweeted this out. He had a bit of a strange but not common drop-off in his draft plus 1, but saw a huge rebound in his draft plus 2. Riley Smith did nearly the exact same thing, transitioning to the NCAA. Riley Smith results for Lekkerimaki would be really good, to be honest. And you can see that Lekkerimaki and Smith both had draft plus 1 seasons where they declined and then draft plus 2 seasons where they improved. Right now, Lekerimaki's top comparisons are Riley Smith, Scott Hartnell, and Matt Foy. You hope that he's a lot more like Riley Smith than the other guys. Evgeny Kuznetsov is also listed here as a draft year comparison, but either way, for Lekkerimaki, there's a lot of good coming out of his profile, and I'm excited to see what Vancouver has in store for him. But when it comes to the Montreal Canadiens news, this was what was tweeted out by Marco D'Amico earlier this morning. David Reinbacher is confirmed to be making his AHL debut tonight with the Laval Rocket. And you had yourselves, the Rocket themselves, tweeting this out. Hey, there you go. That's the uniform. That's him suiting up for the team. David Reinbacher is officially going to be a Laval Rocket. And I'm very interested in seeing, do they have the lines and everything tweeting out? No, they do not. Okay, we'll see a little bit further down if that is available to us, but David Reinbacher has been all over the Laval Rocket social media, and for good reason. This is the top guy the Canadiens took in the 2023 NHL Draft. He's wearing number 64, and when it comes to the progression here, I mean, this will be a pretty good sign for Laval when you talk about who else is available on this D-core. As we had talked about, I mean, Barron, Mailloux, and Reinbacher as right-handed defensemen, that's a stellar right-handed core. Now, not to mention Trudeau, Norlinder, and these other guys too. This very well could be one of the best defense cores in the entire AHL, assuming it sticks together and into the postseason. The Laval Rocket are not confirmed to be making the playoffs yet, but they're still trying to fight for their right. So if they end up squeaking in, it could very well be off the backs of these defensemen right here. Because look, Justin Barron, you could already say, is an NHL caliber guy. David Reinbacher is the hot new prospect coming in. Mailloux has improved tremendously. He's been scoring a lot. Norlinder, of course, he is in a bottom pairing role, so we'll see if he's able to keep his spot in the lineup. Trudeau has been pretty good, and then of course you have the forwards up there that we have been paying attention to the entire season. Nice to see Durando playing with Lias Andersson. I like that pairing a lot, actually. So the Laval Rocket, they're going to have themselves a game later tonight against the Belleville Senators, I'm pretty sure. Is it going to be Belleville? Yeah, it is. So we'll see what exactly David Reinbacher is able to do in his first game. Don't go out there and have too high of expectations, because you got to remember, Reinbacher is going to be playing his first game away from a really bad team in EHC Kloten. He finally has himself some competition wherein it's a little bit advanced. He'll probably need to have some sort of an adjustment period. He might not have the most minutes right away. These other two guys on the right, Barron and Mailloux, they've been very, very good. So if Reinbacher only plays, let's say, 13 to 15 minutes a night, I don't really think that's all too big of a deal. I don't even know if those stats are available on the AHL's website anyway, but either way, for David Reinbacher, this is a huge, huge development for him, and I'm super excited to see what he'll be able to do. We'll probably make some follow-up videos, like after Reinbacher plays and he does his thing, we'll see what his point production sample is like and how he's actually playing, because there are going to be a lot of eyes on the Montreal Canadiens farm team now that Reinbacher is present in the system. So if you're a fan of the Vancouver Canucks, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about Jonathan Lekkerimaki coming over to Vancouver and visiting for a week, as well as, if you're a Canadiens fan, what are your thoughts on David Reinbacher making his debut with the Rocket later tonight? I hope you enjoyed this video, 99, and bye.